You don't start things and not finish them. You don't quit. There's nothing that comes out of quitting besides knowing that you didn't finish. We finish everything. You start it, finish it. If you're going to do it to try to be the best. Not to be better than other people, but to be the best for you. You grind hard so you can play hard. The work you put in will pay off. It could be a year, it could be 30 years, but you keep grinding. Welcome to Big Reptile Talk. As always, welcome to the podcast. This is Big Reptile Talk. Excited to come on today, but before we jump into the podcast, we got to give love to our sponsors. So let's go ahead and pop them up. Ozzy Boys, man, doesn't need an introduction, man. If you're into ball pythons, you know who Ozzy Boys is. If you're looking to get into snakes, please hit him up. Just an amazing person. He supports my dream, and I appreciate him, man. And if you're keeping animals, make sure you reach out to Venom-Proof Cages, some of the best cages on the market. Much love to that company, man. Thank you for supporting my dream. Now, without further ado, let's jump into the podcast. While we're here, let's say what's up to some of the early birds. Thank you guys for coming. I appreciate you. Bosa Balls, man, much love. Gary Kelshaw, what's going on? Big Tim in the building, man. J&G Reptiles has that member badge, man. Thank you for supporting my dream of being a member of the channel. Iron Dog, man, you're right. This is going to be epic, man. Much love, my brother, man. I appreciate you stopping by. What is up, my animal house? Thank you for having that member badge. I love you. Kara Shea, man, I appreciate you being here. Big Brad in the building, man. What is going on, Brad? Much love to all the early people, man. Live Feed and ASMR, Grim Exotics, everybody stopping by. I appreciate it, man. Thank you for coming in to show us love. Today will be a fun podcast. We're bringing on Alex, the critter catcher, man. One of the doper people in the game, man. So without further ado, I want to bring him on. What is going on, brother?
How you doing, man?
Man, excited to have you here, man. You crushing it in the game, man. And I gotta start off by asking, man. Having over 100,000, followers on Instagram, do you consider yourself to be a reptile influencer?
It's honestly, man, it's not even like I could really care less about the followers. It was funny because when I first started my page, I would post snake rescues, and they just no one cared. But then I'd post I would show feeding of my animal, then people like, ooh, wow, you know what I mean? Like, it's funny how people's attention is drawn to specific things. But recently, this year, I started posting about my rescues on a daily basis of oh, look, I'm just picking up a little baby rattlesnake. What would you guys do? Throwing in a question in the video. Boom, that took off. And honestly, man, that's all it is. It's just people seeing these animals, seeing them in situations they've never seen before. And it's drawing people, and it's great because it's not, like I said, for me, it's not about the 100,000 followers. For me, it's when I post a video, I want people to read the description, see the part 3 or part 2 of the message, showing that, okay, I'm not killing these animals. I'm giving them a second chance at life. You know what I mean? Obviously, the more people that are watching, that's great. But the number itself, I could care less because it's not about me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Oh, 100K. I'm just like, most people like, oh, thank you for 100K. They'll put it up in the story. I didn't care. I'm just like, oh, wow, I'm glad people are appreciating the work that's being done,
Right. I love it, man. I love it. I'm gonna read this comment. Shout out to Grim Exotics. He said, go follow him on IG. He has badass content.
Hey, appreciate it, Grim.
Definitely, man. Now I gotta ask, man, there's so much that people could do. There's the car hobby, there's the gaming hobby. Me and you, we're in the animal hobby. So I gotta ask, why animals? What made you want to dedicate your life to animals?
They saved my life, man. That's it in a nutshell. When I was growing up, I didn't have any friends. I was very hyperactive. The kids didn't like me. I was bullied. I was ridiculed. I had a lot of issues of insecurity. And the only thing I could ever turn to that was 100% consistent with me was animals. I remember in middle school, I would ditch class, go to the back of the school where there's a creek, catch frogs, sliders, and the.
You're back. You're back.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay, I saw the clip. But yeah, I was like, I was living my best life as this little kid, just disobeying what they tell you to do as a human and doing my own thing with animals. And I felt home. I felt complete. So I discovered it at such a young age that these animals are a part of me. You know, they're pretty much the reason why I was put on this earth is to, you know, obviously be a voice, be a spokesman. But now that I have hands and feet, I can contribute to their well-being, you know, and that's literally the best privilege I have to say I can do.
Right. I agree, man. Thank you, Mind Mouse, for that super sticker. Now I gotta ask, you rescue some amazing animals. Now I'm curious, do you take work home with you? And what I mean by that is, do you keep some of your animals? Do you have like a personal collection, stuff that we don't get to see?
Yeah, I have a whole animal rescue that I take as far as like neglected animals, people who can't house their animals. I take them with me. So I have a tortoise. I have 3 sliders. I have leopard geckos, and most people don't like leopard geckos, but someone's like, hey, I got to get rid of them. I'll take them. You know, I'd rather take them, give them the best care versus something bad happening to them. I have a red tail. I have an Argus monitor. I have a beardy. I have a bunch of arachnids, some aquatic frogs. I have everything, and the thing is for me, it's like, these are now my responsibility. Like these are my kids, and they're not just about, oh, look at this, look at my animals, look at, because the moment you post a picture of your animal, you get the wave of critiques like, why is there a grain of sand? And it's just the religious nastiness of the community. And it's like, you know what? I could care less, because at the end of the day, like, my animals are living the best life. Like most people, like my bearded dragon, I just spent like a lot of money on a 6-foot enclosure for my beardie, and he is so happy. Like, he will run around, he'll go up on his little perch, open his mouth, sunbask, and he's living his best life in the biggest enclosure possible. So for me, it's like, I want to invest in my animals that way, giving them the best enclosure. So all my animals are taken care of like that.
Right. I love it. Shout out to Pat Albano for the super sticker, man. Thank you. Now, I got to ask, man, I know you got your rescue business, man, but you do a lot of herping, man. So, like, you don't have to give us the exact location, but what's some of your favorite spots to go herping?
So I'll tell you this. I don't herp anymore as much as I like to, because my job is as a rattlesnake removal. I'm all over the place finding the best spots for snakes. People will have me come out to their property to inspect, to basically like say, hey, we want you to find the snakes because we found one, and I'll go and find half a dozen snakes. And they're like, holy crap, where did all these snakes come from? I'm like, they're living in these areas of your backyard, and these properties are like 10, 20, 50 acres. So they'll have me coming back, like, oh, keep coming back. And I'll just find these beautiful animals, and I take them to the farthest end of the property. You know what I mean? And they're okay with that, because they have, again, acres and acres of land, so it doesn't bother them. They just don't want them close to the property itself. So I'm literally herping with this opportunity, man. It's great. But yeah, all of Southern California. My job goes as far as like through San Diego to Los Angeles, San Bernardino, Riverside, and south to the borders of Mexico.
Right. Now, with you owning that business of rescuing animals, going out and removing animals, just when people call you, give us like a crazy story. What's the craziest thing you walked into and you're like, oh my God, wow?
It would have definitely been so I got a call, and this guy was like, there's a snake in my couch. And I'm just like, okay. In my mind, it's like, okay, either it's a gopher snake or an alligator lizard. You don't know how many times people misidentify an alligator lizard for being a snake. It's actually very common. So I get to the house, and the whole family's standing outside, and they're just pointing inside the house. So I go in the house, and they're like, it's in the couch. So as I peer around the corner, I look right between the cushions, and I see this very large, distinct pattern that's not a typical native snake for California. So as I pull one of the cushions back, bro, it is a freaking Vietnamese blue beauty. So this was like a 7-foot rat snake it was somebody's pet, because it was an apartment complex. So literally somebody in the complex must have lost her beauty. It escaped, somehow got into these people's houses. I don't know if they left the door open, whatever the case, but the snake was just coiled up inside the couch. And when I pull that thing, man, those things are known for being very defensive and bitey. And it was just, trying to bite my shirt. I have a couple videos posted on it. Most people don't even believe it. believe it. The people who know me trust me because they know I'm a man of integrity. I don't BS, or I don't play those dumb games to ruin a reputation. But it's so astronomically impossible for this rare, I mean rare as far as the beauty, to be in somebody's couch. And I'm just like, it's a 7-foot snake, and I'm just blown away. That was probably one of the coolest, most memorable catches for me. I was just like so in awe about the capture.
Now, now I'm gonna tell you, I'm jealous because when I first got into the reptile hobby, my dream snake was a green tree python. Here recently, it's changed. That's my favorite snake, the Asian blue beauty, because I love how defensive it is and it strikes and I love it. It reminds me of the gopher and the gopher snakes and the bull snakes, how they're so hissy. I couldn't imagine losing it, man. That's my dream snake, man. I love it. I love it, man. Now, I got to ask, with you going out and removing animals, of course you probably come across venomous snakes like rattlesnakes and copperheads, stuff like that. So my question to you is, who was your mentor? Like who taught you, how to deal with venomous snakes?
Steve is Steve Irwin. I mean, he was the one when I was a kid. Instead of watching cartoon, I was watching Steve, and I discovered him just because my parents didn't want me watching junk on the television. Like, I don't know, they would refer to some shows as junk. So they put on Animal Planet, and here's this crazy Australian guy just going nuts for animals, and I'm just like, I want to go outside. I want to catch these animals. And from that moment, like Steve, there will never be another person like Steve in who had the purest motives, who had the most incredible innocent heart. His love for animals is beyond anything we comprehend, because we're so, especially like where we're from, we're so easy to become entitled, all about the materialistic things. Look at my fame. You don't know how many people I want to slap because it's always about look at me and then look at the animal behind me. It's like, no, it should always be look at the animal, and then if I'm in the background, that's fine. But these need to be your center of attention. It was always like that with Steve. So that's why I really seen that guy as like a secondary father for me. He became such an influence as far as like education. And I watched him very carefully. How do you deal with venomous snakes? How would he pick them up? How would he interact with them? Just studying. I would watch his videos for hours. Just, okay, I want to learn from him. I want to see how he never got bit, and I want to implement those hand movements, whatever I needed to do.
Right. We love Steve Irwin, man. Shout out to the Irwins, man. They just an iconic family, man. Now, I gotta ask, with you removing all these animals, man, what do you think's been the worst bite you ever took?
I've never been bit by a rattlesnake, so I've never had a bad bite. My goal, especially with my rescues, is I don't play with them. I don't want to get them all worked up more than they already are, because a wild rattlesnake versus a captive rattlesnake, two different scenarios. One is used to a lot of motions and desensitized to a lot of things, as where a rattlesnake straight out the wilderness comes from a mentality of everything's trying to hurt me. There's no water. I got to find water. I'm hungry. This thing is on self-defense mode, 10,000. So it's like now the snake is like, whoa, who the heck is this giant 6'8" being heat blob that's trying to interact with me? So that snake is definitely like, I just quick, easy capture, as safe as possible, get him secured. But I mean, I've taken bites from, rosy boas are like the one thing that bites me, because I don't grab them by the head. I don't do anything. They just will literally look at me, and they'll point their head down to my finger and then just bite, just like that. I'm like, that's it.
Silly, man, silly. I love it, man. Now, with you going out and removing all these animals, the public, and I'm not trying to call anybody dumb or nothing, but the public sometimes might not have as much knowledge as us, since we're in the hobby. So my question to you is, have you ever went on a call and somebody was like, hey, it's a rattlesnake in my house, and you went in and it was a ball python?
All the time I'll get gopher snakes, king snakes. This one guy called me a couple of days ago. I have a rattlesnake. I show up, a king snake that he tried whacking, so it had pretty bad laceration because he took the shovel to it. So it's like I get a lot of those, unfortunately, because people, a snake is always a bad snake in their mind. And I try so hard, like when I'm there, like don't kill these animals. Like if anything, like you need to understand, that king snakes are literally your home defense when I'm not there. The king snakes are taking care of the rattlesnakes that you don't want. So don't hurt these snakes, because all you're doing is you're going to open a segue for all the rattlesnakes to come, working in. Because now they're like, hey, nobody's going to hurt me. Now we're all going to come here because there's no predator for the rattlesnakes.
Right, right, right. I love it, man. I love it. Now, with you going out and removing venomous snakes, my question to you is: have you ever thought about getting your business like licensed to be able to own or keep anti venom in your facility, so you don't have to get it at like the hospital or something like that if you get bit?
Yeah. So as far as that goes, you either one need to be at such a level of everybody knows you, like Steve was. Steve was so well known that he just had scientists, biologists, toxicologists working with him, so he was always ready, right? So you have to have either that type of recognition, or you definitely have to be working directly under a research place that's taking data for these animals, and you're able to use that resource and again have it for you. But like 99% of the population won't have access to that. You have to go, obviously you can put in the hours, you can do a lot of that stuff. I don't have the time right now to try to go and get everything I need to have anti-venom, because if I did that, it would just be less time for the snakes. So my goal is keep pushing forward. If something happens along the way where I get that opportunity, great. You know what I mean? But if in the meantime it doesn't happen, I would rather, keep focusing on the snakes, get bit, go to the hospital. That's I would be more satisfied with that than trying to spend all these hours and then I'm neglecting, the rescues.
Right, right, right. That makes sense, man. That makes sense. Now, I got to give you a hot seat question, man, just to kind of have a little fun. I know you have your own business, but let's say you didn't have your own business and you needed a job. You needed to work, and there was only 3 jobs in the whole world. Where are you working and why? So let's say there was Jay's Prehistoric Pets, Brian Barczyk's Reptarium, or Savannah's Gatorland. Where are you going to work and why?
Brian, my boy Brian. I'll be honest with you. I'm not going to say anything regarding the other. I don't really know them. I can speak on Brian because of the few conversations I've had. He's one of the few big animal people that took time to talk to somebody that was on a lower stature, which I respect so much, because you know what the biggest shit that I deal with is, man, I'm up here, so I'm not going to put in the investment. I don't care about the people down here, and that's the biggest issue. So Brian Barczyk returns my messages. He reached out to me even before I took initiative. And that's just the best thing about Brian. So, I definitely got to give him props, because that's not even about animals anymore. That's just about the characteristics of him, so respect to Brian, because for me, at least as far as my experience, Brian has showed me more of a upright, moral, like just down to earth person. That's like, hey, I'm not up here. We're all together. And here's the end. You know what I mean? That's just my opinion, of course.
I definitely agree with you, man. Like you said, he shows love. I got 4,000 subscribers. I'm on my way to 4,000 subscribers almost, and he's been on my podcast. This man has millions of subscribers, and he took time, just like you. I got almost 4,000 subs. You got 113,000, but you still took time out of your day to show love and come on the podcast. So Brian, kudos, man. That's what it's about, man. Just showing love and talking about animals.
Absolutely, 100.
I love it, man. I love it, man. Now, with you having, your own facility and where you're kind of keeping your rescues, my question is, do you ever see yourself, getting into breeding?
No. So as for me, unless it was like an endangered species and it was an awesome project to do something, right now I don't see a need, and that's again, it's just personal preference. I don't see a need in my own life to focus on breeding, especially animals that they're already at high, export, like they're just coming and going, like there's no shortage, so it's not like we're trying to bring them back into a healthy population. I just don't see the need right now for me to put any energy into because in that's, and two, I like to keep myself in check. If I started breeding, guess what's going to happen? The money, and I don't want the money. I don't ever want the money to become an issue. So if I start breeding, guess what? It's not breeding for me. It's not like, oh, I just want 1,000 snakes. It's like, oh, I'm going to make money and I'm going to sell. So for me, it helps me better to keep it simple, right? So that's kind of like where I'm at. It doesn't mean I won't be like, oh, my snake spread, that's so cool. But am I going to do it on a professional level like some of the top dogs? No. I at least for right now, I don't think so.
Right
In
now.
the future, maybe in the future, but as for right now, I like where my heart's at. I like where my motive's at. And I think if it stays that way, maybe that can become an awesome thing. But as of right now, I'm pretty content.
And right now it's working for you. You know what you're doing. You're growing. Your Instagram is going just up. So, like you said, I wouldn't change nothing. If you don't got to breed and you crushing it, just keep doing what you're doing. Now, I want to go into the next question. I want to kind of have a little fun. You go out, you remove snakes from people's house all the time. So my question to you is, if you could remove a snake from any celebrity's house, who would it be and why? Like, who's a celebrity that you would love if they called you like, I need you to come here right now and get this snake? Who would you want it to be? Who would you want to be on the other end of that phone?
It's got to be Post Malone. It's got to be Post Malone. So I'll tell you, every time I see him in a video, how he's reacting with people, like, man, he just acts like a big kid, just like me. Like, he's so. Oh, can you hear me now?
Okay, I can hear you. I can hear.
Yeah, he's just so funny, down to earth, polite. I just love seeing him interact with people. And for me, it's like, heck yeah, like I would love to hang out with somebody who's just, again, bro, like they're not like the coolest, most known person that's just like on a pedestal, but they're just like, what's up, bro? I'm like, you're Post Malone and you're calling me, bro. Like you're cool for that, you know?
Right. And see if that call ever did happen, you could pitch. You could be like, let me be your animal, your
Yeah.
animal guide,
Hey,
your animal
I'll be
keeper.
right there. I'll bring you money. I'm going to pay you to come get it.
I love it, man. I love it, man. Now, I definitely do want to talk about IG, man. I want you to kind of give us some tips, because we all want to follow in your footsteps. You're on IG at almost 114,000 subscribers. So, my question to you is, if somebody's wanting to follow in your footsteps, what are some good tips to grow on IG?
Yeah, reels are the number one thing that are getting the most organic reach, and most importantly, I guess there's a lot of factors with Instagram. It's pretty interesting. Trending sounds, reels, time of the day is super crucial. That these are all the things I'm learning. Hashtags have a way in things too. You don't want to use banned hashtags. You want to use appropriate hashtags. You don't want to use too many. There's a sweet amount. Um, what else? Um, my reels are set up in a way where it gets challenges people, questions people. Like, what would you do in this situation? Boom, one person comments, another person comments. Now 100 people commented. Now the algorithm's like takes that video, throws it out to the world, so all these people can comment. So you start engaging, and that's the thing, man. When people make Instagram about themselves, it's very hard to rise to the top. But when you incorporate everybody, when you're making it about the people, the communities, when you're making it about a very real topic like rattlesnakes that most people don't want or want to kill, now everybody's like, rattlesnake, like I need to be a part of this post because I've had an encounter with a rattlesnake. You know what I mean? So it's all about posting appropriate content, um, challenging people with questions, stuff like that, gathering intelligence, just asking them, things like, oh, what would you do? Then people just pouring. And then honestly, like what I do that most people don't do is I try to respond to almost every comment. And I had a video that got like 50 million views. It had like 5 or 6 thousand comments and 3,000 were mine. Like I would literally spend hours before bed just going and responding to all the comment, even the hate. Like, they'd say something really toxic, and I like to bounce back a little bit. I'd be like, thanks, champ, and I'll put like the little teary-eyed smiley emoji. Just kind of I like to rub a little bit, but not like where it's going to get people to react. But just like, oh, that was a cute comment, just stuff like that. But I will literally respond to every person as much as I physically can. So I'm spending hours every night engaging with my community because I want them to feel like, hey, again, this guy actually cares about us. This guy's taking time to respond to us. And that's the biggest thing is our generation lacks genuine, authentic people. It's always just look at me up here. You'll never be here, but I'm going to sell products so you think you're up here. It's that type of bullshit, man. And that just gets me so pissed off because it's like it. I hate it, man. It's like they're using animals, bro, to freaking grow themselves, and I'm just like, you guys suck. You really do. So, yeah, that's a whole nother wormhole.
I,
But yeah, does that make sense?
it doesn't. It does, man. I love it. I love it. Now you said you had an Instagram reel hit 50 million views. How did that make you feel? 50 million people seeing that reel. Don't that feel good?
It didn't like, okay, when I saw 50 million, I was like, holy crap. Like there's so many people watching this video. And it wasn't like holy crap, I'm famous. It was like this is really cool. And then I had another video recently hit 30 point something million views. This was within this last month. Yeah, it's very interesting. When your videos start popping off, like you will get I was literally looking at my feed and I would get like 5 followers every time I would just refresh the page. I'd refresh 5 followers, refresh five. And literally, one day I got 8. I think it was like 8 or 9,000 followers one day, and I was like, damn, that was pretty cool as far as like a milestone. You know, like the account's growing, it's doing great, but today it jumped 8 or 9,000 followers. Like, man, something right is happening. You know, and I just want to keep riding that wave and keeping that momentum going as far as like, okay, this is who I am, this is my lane. I'm not, I'm not going this way. I'm just boom, nose to the ground grinding.
Right. I just started trying to use the reels, man. So I'm gonna try and catch up with you, man. Nah, I,
Please do.
I
I want you to.
I love it, man. I love it, man. Now I gotta ask, with you having your facility, do you ever see yourself, opening the doors and doing like public education with it?
Oh, I already do. I do on-site educational events for animal awareness. A lot of rattlesnakes, but I do any type of things with most reptiles, amphibians, predominantly rattlesnakes and snakes because most people again fear snakes. But I do a lot of educationals already from that perspective.
I love it, man. I love it, man. Now I gotta mix it up a little bit, man. Have a little fun. I gotta give you a hot seat question.
All right.
All right, so let's say you're on a boat because you do fishing. I've seen that. We'll get in that in a little bit. Let's say you're on a boat somewhere, and there's 2 people drowning, but you only got one life jacket to throw out there. So who are you saving? You got Carol Baskin or Joe Exotic?
Shoot. Huh. Can I drown them both? No, I'm just kidding. Can I belly flop on both of them and just call it a day?
No. You gotta say one. That's the fun of the game. You gotta say
Oh
one.
no, man! I have to take a shot in the dark because all I know about Joe is from Tiger King, the show. Everybody watched it out of curiosity. All I know from Carol Baskin is Carol Baskin. She killed her husband, whack. That's all I know about that lady. So I don't know, man. Shoot. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Who do you, in your opinion, who's actually more for the animals that lead as far as like, like well-being? Like who would you say is more? Because I don't
Neither. Okay, I'll switch it up. Let's not do it. Let's not do animal keepers. I'm gonna switch it up. This is
know. All
this
right.
is this is a better one. This is a better one. Okay. Now this don't have nothing to do with animals. Hot seat question. 2 people are drowning. You got one life jacket. You can save one person. Who you saving? You could save Takashi 69 or the Island Boys.
Oh. I would probably save the Island Boys.
I'm an Island Boy. See, I like that.
I
That's a good
like
choice.
not because I like them, because at least one's dead and the other one's gonna get slapped. So yeah, that would be really nice. Just like a good, just like I don't know, man, just like an island slap right across the face would be really nice.
I love it, man. I love it. Now, this is just a fun podcast, man. Now I got to ask you. I told you my favorite dream animal. It is the Asian. I think it's called the Asian blue beauty snake. super bitey, super defensive.
Uh,
I'm in love with that animal. So my question to you is, if you could have any animal in the world, what's your dream animal that you'd love to have?
hmm, that's tough. I've never really thought about that. It would have to be, if I could have one animal. Oh, that's tough. It would probably be it would be a rattlesnake, but it's between the Arizona blacktail, the Crotalus molossus, or the Crotalus rubra, the red diamonds. Now, the red diamonds are federally protected, so you can't have them unless you're like up here with permits and stuff. But I think the red diamonds are like one of the most gorgeous snakes, in my opinion, like just absolutely stunning. You see the colors from the ruby red, the burgundy, all of these variations of colors from desert to more coastal. Man, they are so beautiful. And then they have the black and white banded tail, large 6 foot Crotalus too. So they get pretty big, not like the Adamantus, the Easterns, but they get really big. So I would have to say reds, but I'll never be able to have one unless I'm get some paperwork. I don't even know what the hell to start to get one.
Now some of my favorite rattlesnakes, and I don't own rattlesnakes, but this gentleman right here, James, he's a good friend of mine. He owns a lot of venomous stuff, and I've seen some. Have you ever seen the rock rattlesnakes?
The banded rock rattlesnakes? Oh, those are gorgeous. I haven't seen one in person. They're definitely on the bucket list. I've seen pictures, but they have like a gray phase and a green phase. So just my goodness, bro. The green ones, Lord,
Right.
it's so gorgeous, man.
Right. Now he's my buddy. He said, "I'm still trying to figure out how you're going to hold a mean ass snake when you're scared of your boa." He's making fun of me because I have a red tail boa and it's a jerk. It tries to bite me every time I pick it up. And he like laughs and just makes fun of me. Silly guy though, man. I definitely love him though, man. Much love to J&G. Now I gotta ask this, man. To me, and I know you bashful, but you got 100,000 followers. But now with that amount of followers, you need to hire me as your director of marketing because I got an idea.
Okay.
You want to hear it?
Yeah.
All right, we got 100,000 followers watching us. We need to branch off and capitalize on this success. We need Alex the critter catcher items like snake hooks. We need Alex the critter catcher sunglasses. We need Alex the critter catcher everything, man.
I'm not gonna do anything that I look stupid in. When I wear sunglasses, man, I have the worst shaped head for like I barely have a hat head, but man, I put glasses on and I look ridiculous, dude. Like I look so dumb. It's just like, who's this bozo walking down the street looking like a magnet that's just picking up all this debris on his face? Like I can't. I'm a snake hook, that's cool. But glad man, it's so tough too because it's like I would love practical merch, something like a snake hook. That's cool. Maybe a T-shirt, But it's not a bad idea. I'll give you that. It's not a bad idea. It's a hiring level. It's debatable, but we'll get there.
I love it, man. I love it, man. Now, with you being in the hobby, man, I gotta ask. I have my favorites. We all have our favorite OGs, and I'm not talking about the Irwins. We love the Irwins, but I mean, living OGs in the hobby right now. For instance, I love Brian Gundy. He's an OG in the reptile hobby. I don't know if you know him.
Oh, Brian Gundy. I haven't personally talked with him, but I know of him and I've seen his stuff.
Yeah, like I love Brian Gundy. I love Tom Crutchfield. I love the OGs in the hobby. So my question to you is, who are some of the original, the OGs that inspire you right now in the reptile hobby?
It definitely would be Keenan. So and this is why I love the guy. Keenan, one of the few people that I've seen. I know Tom. I respect Tom because Tom has a great philosophy on animals, Crutchfield. But Keenan, like what he did for his Asian water monitor, uh, Slinky, he built a massive outdoor enclosure that probably cost a ton of money. Um, and that's what I love to see is that if we're getting donations or if we're getting paid off of some revenue, obviously we take care of the family, we take care of our physical body because if we're no good, we can't be good to the animals. But he's taking all of this and creating the most realistic, natural environment for his animals. I respect and love that with so much in me because it's like that's my heart. Like I have dreams of making like some of the world's first outdoor enclosure for some specific animals that are just kind of like my plan right now. Um, that I'm using his concept of creating um, these enclosures at such a large to give the animal a reason to live. And that's why again people say, yeah, put your bearded dragon in a 36 by so and so or a 48, whatever. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go 72. Why? Well, obviously in the wild, it's bearded dragons have endless terrain. So having a larger enclosure, it's not like a huge detrimental thing, like it's going to be day and night difference. But you know what? At least for the animal, he's got that much more space. I create a realistic, natural habitat for him. So it's like this is how his generation grew up. That's my goal, man. Is giving these animals the best realistic life that they can have as far as in captivity, or giving them second chances as far as the rescues. But that's my heart, man. Is where what Keenan's doing right now, and it's so awesome because I'm not there yet, and I get to look to him as a standard of like, okay, this is how he set it up. Like that's awesome. Now I have a standard to live by and strive for. So, mad respects to Cam Keenan.
Right. Definitely a legend in the game, man. Now I gotta ask, we know you're getting just incredible numbers on Instagram, but my question to you is, YouTube's a whole different ballgame. It's a lot harder to grow on, but I still want to give you an idea. I feel like if you return to YouTube, I got a great YouTube idea for you. Let me see. What do you think about this? You and Nick the Wrangler having a herp off. Who can find the most herps?
I love that guy. It's funny you even brought him up. I was like, somebody at some point is going to bring up Nick. Yeah, so it's funny. Nick and I met him like 3 years ago. He just moved back to California, and I was a super like always watching his videos. I'm like, I knew nothing about the guy, and then I saw this guy holding a rattlesnake, and I'm like, what the hell? That's so cool. I've actually learned a lot from Nick as far as like techniques, how he's worked with animals, because hands down, no matter what people say about him, that guy knows how to catch a snake. That guy can properly handle things that I've never seen people do, and he's got such precision when he does it. And I got to give him mad props for that because Nick is like he's incredible. When he's in the zone, he'll come back and be like, I found a snake, and I'm like, dude, like you got kudos on me, like you have it in you. So definitely Nick, when he's out on the field, like I've seen it beforehand, like he can find stuff. So that would be a cool idea. I'm not sure where he's at as far as YouTube right now. I'm trying to grow. It's funny because you're right, it is much harder on YouTube to grow. So I'm starting out. I'm trying to get the grind. I've jumped maybe like 200 followers or 200 subscribers in maybe a month, but I'm trying to get there and whatever you have to do. But yeah, YouTube is, I think that'd be a great idea as far as like a herp off or whoever it is, whether it be Nick, somebody else. I think that'd be pretty cool to see like who could find the most critters within this period of time.
See, I'm here. I got you. We here. We thinking alike, man. I love it, man.
Right
Now
there,
I
you
won't.
go.
I know you're very busy. I won't keep you too much longer. It something I want you to tell people. No, I don't ask that. I changed my mind. I want to ask something else. Going into these houses and finding these snakes, I'm not sure I could do it. I think because I love animals, and for me, it would be heartbreaking, and I'd end up being homeless. And what do I mean? I mean, when you go into that house and you see that snake that's in a mouse trap, that's on a glue trap, its skin is peeling off. First off, it's gonna break my heart. Second off, I'm not gonna have no money because I'm gonna have super high expensive vet bills. So my question to you is, how do you deal with seeing animals that are injured, and do you rehab them, and can people donate to you to kind of help you with the vet bills? Just kind of go into detail about that.
So thankfully, most of my rescues have been manageable. As far as the snakes, glue trap, biggest one. My last one was a coach whip, a red racer. He's at least 3.5 feet, 4 feet in length. Was stuck in a glue trap. This snake was one of the worst cases I've ever seen. He actually had a dead mouse stuck to him that had maggots in the mouse. He had rat poison pellets on him. He had shrapnel on his face. Couldn't open his mouth. It was so heart wrenching. But in my mind, when I look at this, if I let the emotion get to me, it's affecting my physical. So I have to, for the time being, boom, back in the noggin. Okay, you know what? Snake safety. The snake needs this, and for me to execute this, I have to put all that into the back processing unit. Throw it away for now. Process it later of how crappy glue traps are. So I just put on the mindset. Snake first. Boom. Got game mode in. Laser focused. So process like glue traps takes several days. So we do a wash, a little bit of Dawn dish soap, get some debris off, oil, soak it, rinse, lather, rinse, let it dry off, give it some time to cool down because it's very stressful for the animal, highly stressful. So all the interaction is just adding to the stress. So we give it some time off, repeat the process. By day 3, the snake is almost 95% debris free, like adhesive gone. He's like looking so good. He's got a little few on his face that's just like too hard to get because it's close to his eyes. So he would have to shed. Once he sheds, he'll get through it. But that's the goal, man, is getting that snake, because if it weren't for that encounter, if I didn't get to those snakes, man, they would die. And it's so that's what really gets me. So I think the hope of me being there trumps, like, outweighs all of these all the negative annotations. So that's literally it. Like it literally is the fact that the snake's health and priority is in line. And I have to, like, again, just be laser focused. I cannot, waver from that, because the moment I do, it's going to affect the animal. It's going to affect my performance.
Right. So, and like you said, the good thing about it is a lot of the cases that you come across, you really haven't had to do the vet. You can kind of do it in-house. So it's a little more manageable financially.
Yeah.
That's always a good thing, man. And that's always an excellent thing, man. Now I want to, dive into something and have a little fun, man. We love you, Sark. Shout out to you, Sark. Just kind of like a 2-part question, and I'll ask the first part first. You Sark, the laws, they so bad in Florida. They're horrible. They're getting horrible all around the world. So my question to you is, if I think you're in California, if the laws ever got as bad as they are in Florida and California, do you ever see yourself leaving California?
I mean, it's bad overall. So California is the highest tax state in the entire world. So we are dealing with some of the harshest conditions to live. Gas prices are atrocious. Some places $6, $7. So it's not even necessarily just the animals. It's how long could I actually live here? So it's sad because this is my home. I grew up here, and if I ever get the means to stay, I'll stay. I'll stay, and I'll keep doing my service here until I feel my calling elsewhere. That's kind of how I live my life too. It's like every chapter of life, that until that chapter closes, I don't, this is where I'm stationed. This is where my feet will be planted. My hands will work. My mouth, I'll go and, start being the voice animal, whatever the case. So as long as everything kind of stays the way it is, like I'm still here. But if it got that bad, it would suck. But I would have to, for the sake of me, my animals, everything, I've thought about it too, because obviously it's like, how much more can I give my animals if I had less taxes to pay, if I didn't have to pay $50 for a cheeseburger, hypothetically, of course, but you get it.
Right. I feel you, man. I feel you. Now, I wanna have a little fun with it. Shout out to you, Sark. We love you, Sark. Make sure you support them. If you got, even if you don't got animals, still support them. Shout out, and I'm going somewhere with this. Shout out to John Feely. Him and High Desert Pythons, they put on a charity wrestling match to raise money for USARC. So just kind of a fun question. If we were throwing a round 2, a charity wrestling match for USARC to raise money, who can we get Alex the Critter Catcher in the ring with? Who do you feel like, who ass you think you can whoop in the reptile hobby?
I don't want an ass I can whoop. I want somebody who can whoop my ass. And
You don't want to get your ass whooped. You want to whoop somebody's ass.
no, I like the challenge. I don't want to beat, so that's no fun. What's fun about? Listen, I'm 6'8", 280 pounds. I've dealt with short man, the short guys always trying to start something with me. I've dealt with it my whole life. So me, I like the challenge. I like it when there's a bad mofo and he's gonna give me a run for my money. So I would have to pick somebody who's bigger than me, at least my weight, who's freaking athletic and can put me on my toes. Because like I said, it's no fun. I've been in plenty of situations where you just shut stuff down very quick. It's just not fun for me. It's just like I like to tussle. I wrestled in high school, so I did that all the way to my first year in college, and then I dropped out and did the started my own animal rescue. But I've always been wrestling, so I'm always about that competitive mindset. Like, who's the next best person? Who can again take me to that next level? So I definitely would put somebody like, I don't know who's big, but one of all these people trying to fight now, like, oh, I'm gonna do this, go into the boxing now, like one of those people that's always like jumping on that boat.
Right. High Desert Python's pretty big. You know who else is big? Miguel from Always Evolving Pythons. They say he's pretty big.
All right, well, there you go.
I love it, man. And I led into that question just to kind of rib fun at Feely a little bit. He messaged me and said, you're doing his podcast next month. So I gotta say this on my podcast. Stop stealing my guest, John. I'm kidding, man. Totally got nothing but love and respect for Feely, man. Make sure y'all check out his podcast, Outside the Clutch. He said he's got you booked next month.
I'm sorry, you cut out. What was that?
I said John Feely. I was ribbing fun at him because he's trying to steal my guess. I guess he said he has you booked next month for his podcast.
Oh, is that? Oh, I think so. I think I did have somebody hit me up about that. I don't even know names. I do remember somebody being like, "Hey, does this date?" And because I get so many messages, and I'm just like, I get so overwhelmed with responding, and I try to respond to everybody, which sucks. Like, if you don't want to do it, don't do it, because it's
right.
like literally, I'll go into my request folder, bruh. It's just like, and I'm just. And people are like, wow, you responded. I'm like, dude, I'm just a freaking person. Like, stop, stop it. Like, come on. But
right.
The message length, man, it's stupid. It gets really long and tedious.
Right, man. Well, like I said, man, you gave us an amazing podcast. It's been almost 50 minutes. Definitely fun talking animals with you. I appreciate it. I want to end it on this note, man, just to kind of have a little fun. Don't get this wrong, because if you get it wrong, I'm gonna be mad. I might not even post this podcast, man. So you got to get it right. Samsung or Apple?
Nokia. Come on, come on, my guy. Let's hit it with that Nokia.
What?
I'll throw a Nokia off a one-story building, and that damn thing gonna work. You throw an iPhone off a 2-inch ledge off your table, and that mofo's like experienced a Category 5 hurricane. Like,
oh no! You telling me you? Hold on! You telling me you team Samsung?
The hell no!
You actually have a Nokia right now?
What do you think?
Awesome podcast, man. You're cracking me up, man. I just want to say thank you for giving some of your time, man. I appreciate you for coming on and just hanging out with us.
Absolutely, brother.
All right, I'm gonna let you go, man. You have an amazing day. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. You too. Have a good one.
Awesome podcast, man. Fun chopping it up with Alex, the critter catcher. Go check him out on Instagram. Just he's over there killing it, man. Almost 120,000 followers on IG. Catching just amazing animals, man. Just doing amazing stuff on Instagram. Hey, Todd, man, much love. I appreciate it. He said you should buy memberships. Yes. This is a smart man. Buy memberships to Derek's Reptiles. Support my dream. Thank you for the super chats from my Animal House and the other guy. I appreciate it. Just a fun podcast, man. You get behind the scenes of Derek doing the nasty dance. No, you don't. Awesome podcast, man. Until next time, tomorrow I'm bringing on Ebony and Ivory Reptiles. We're diving back into the game of ball python breeding. I'm super excited about that. I'm getting ready to put out a notification about it. It's going to be a blast. So Again, this was an amazing podcast. Much love to the people that showed up. Thank you for supporting my dream. I have fun doing these podcasts and talking to people in the hobby. Tune in tomorrow, 7 p.m. Central. Again, we're getting back to the ball pythons, man. I want to bring on a ball python breeder that I feel is crushing it. So tune in tomorrow, man. Shout out to Ebony and Ivory Reptiles, man. Thank you for stopping by. Much love to everybody. And if you've got time, head on over to Iron Dog's channel. I believe they're going live in like 5 minutes. It's the Iron Animal Show. Definitely a good podcast to watch. Until next time, this is Derek, and this is a Big Reptile Talk. We out of here. You don't start things and not finish them. You don't quit. There's nothing that comes out of quitting besides knowing that you didn't finish. We finish everything. You start it, finish it. If you're going to do it to try to be the best. Not to be better than other people, but to be the best for you. You grind hard so you can play hard. The work you put in will pay off. It could be a year, it could be 30 years, but you keep grinding.